Hey everybody, I hope everyone is having an amazing Memorial Day and getting a little bit of time to rest. We've got a bit of a special show for you today, and before I tell you exactly what it's going to be, I just want to tell everyone that it's an important day today, and it's a wonderful opportunity to just have some gratitude for the fact that we've got to where we are here in 2025. And to remember what this day is for all those who have given their lives in order to protect this country, and those who carry that burden, those who still are standing in those roles, those who still protect this nation, its borders, its people, and many of them never see their names memorialized until they are in fact killed in action or until they leave this world. But there are many who hold their memories on their shoulders, and it also should be a power source for us all to continue to move forward and to remember what's important. Not ego, not money, not any of these things, but the future of our country and the people who make it up and the children who are going to be the beneficiaries of this country that we leave them. And so today I want to say a special thank you and ask for prayers for Tina Peters, for President Trump, for those in our armed forces, for those who have fallen, and for their families who remember them. I want to thank all of you patriots and all of those who are just normal people. You have no special titles, you don't have 10 million followers, but you've been working to share truth and to lift up one another, to support your families, and working in your own communities, figuring out legal routes, figuring out how to serve and how to protect, and educating yourselves. Because many would try to make us think that what we do is not important if we're not at the center of the spotlight. And I just want to remind each and one of you that that's not true. And I want you to all remember as well, like in the armed forces, it is a unit, it is a group. So all of those in the force made up of individuals whose actions might by themselves seem insignificant makes the greatest nation, the greatest military this world has seen. And there are so many things that are happening that I know frustrate us to see the timelines. But it's important we all remember that there are those who are good. In every intelligence agency, in every level of the government, we have seen over the last few years how badly embedded our country and all of its systems have been with bad actors and those who don't actually serve the people or serve truth, but serve themselves. But there are good people. It is impossible that we would have gotten to where we are today if there were not good people. And so again, I want to thank our great President Trump. I want to tell all of you that when you see people trying to say that he's not doing anything, that he's sold out, there are so many ops going on right now. I want you to have a little bit of patience. Look back over the last few years. Think about all the things that have happened and look at what he's accomplished just in the short time he's been in office. There's so much more going on, and we can be frustrated and we can get emotional at times, but at the end of the day, if there were not good people, we would not be in this position. Our nation would look very, very differently if it weren't for those who are in our military and in our intelligence, our police, people who have been providing information, whistleblowing, and those who've been working behind the scenes to make sure that everything is done and everything is done right. So let's all be grateful today, honor those who have fallen, and say a special prayer for all those who are still suffering under the effects of this dynasty that we have seen begin to collapse. We're going to hear a message from Tina Peters today, a couple of them, a message from Tina Peters' mother. You're going to see some footage and some pictures of her son Remington that hasn't been released as of yet. And then there's also a short video that I made of John Tign's poem that you can find on his X. And just as a reminder, he was one of the contractors in Benghazi. Ambassador Chris Stevens was killed. So I want to say thank you to Tig for his courage and for his sacrifice. And to all of those of you who have served in the military or going into, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice. God bless you. May God protect all of you in this nation, and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, as you know, this is the day, Memorial Day commemorates the day that my son gave his life literally for this country. He was 3 weeks from going back to Iraq, and he was doing a demonstration jump at Liberty State Park to honor all the Memorial Day, the loss of life for Memorial Day. So while a lot of people are celebrating, there's so many people that are in pain because of the loss of a loved one. So I hope you'll remember those people, and also remember my son, Remington Jordan Peters. I was just thinking about being in prison right now and how I'm unable to see my family and, my extended family and friends and people like you that have supported me so much. And, liberty is an important aspect of our freedom that these men and women died for, that we honor on Memorial Day. So I hope you'll take a few moments to thank and pray for the families of the ones that are now gone. And I really appreciate that. I was reading the other day. I don't get a lot of time because, believe it or not, prison is very busy. It's very stressful, very busy. We're always going to and fro, and it's just the drama and all those things that go with this type of environment. But I was thinking that, what I've done to expose what I've exposed, and it's going to keep on living on, and people are going to come to know the truth about everything that's been done. And I look to keep things in a positive perspective because there's so much negative here, and pettiness and stress, like I said. But I count it an honor to go through the suffering that I'm going through right now, to spare anyone else from having to be here in this prison and be in prison, period, or jail, and go through what I've gone through. And I hope that I'll encourage other people to speak out, on behalf of truth, and that I can serve my time here, honoring all of you that do stand up for truth in my stead. So I consider this my duty, as if I'm in the armed forces. I'm from an armed force family. My husband served in Vietnam at the Tet Offensive, and of course my son is a Navy SEAL. And so it's our duty to support the Constitution that I swore an oath to for the United States of America and for Colorado. And when it's your duty, you pretty much endure the suffering that entails. And so I'm just honored to do this and count it a joy. The Bible says, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And of course, we know that the continual testing during tribulations is just what this life is about. You can back down, or you can forge forward, like so many veterans that are still living have done, and so many that gave their life. So please remember Memorial Day. Remember my son's sacrifice, my husband's sacrifice, and all of those out there and their families. Happy Memorial Day. I don't even like to say Happy Memorial Day, but remember Memorial Day as you spend time with your family, and just hold them dear, and hold our liberties dear for all those that fought to maintain, and all those that are fighting now to keep our liberty. And God bless President Trump and all those on the cabinet that are continuing to stand up for truth, and wherever you are, standing up for truth. Thank you so much. And I love you all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
These circumstances for us are just the same way we deal with an operation overseas.
All right, guys, we're going to do 25 push-ups for Remington Peters. Drop that. Drop down. Drop. Down. One. Down. Two. Down. Three. Down. Four. Down. Five. Down. Six. Down. Seven. Down. Eight. Down. Nine. Down. 10. Down. One. Down. Two. Down. Three. Down. Four. Down. Five. Down. Six. Down. Seven. Down. Eight. Down. Nine. Down. Down. One. Down. Two. Down. Three. Down. Four. Five. Remington Peters! Yeah! Leapfrogs. Awesome. Yeah, leapfrogs! Leapfrogs!
That Apollo's with me right now.
Oh, really? Wonderful.
It's great to talk to you.
Well, it's nice to chat with you. I am 96 and a half, and I was having my Sunday afternoon siesta.
You must be the reason Tina's so good looking.
Well, I'll go to the drawer where I have all my memorabilia of him, and he was the most precious person. Of course, I've got 9 grandchildren, but he just stands out like a bright, shining star. And usually the retirement home I live in, they have a display for veterans for this weekend, but they didn't have it there because they have it under construction. And so I saw a man that was in Vietnam that lives here, and he said he spent 3 months in hospital in Vietnam, and I was thanking him for his service, and he saw what I had on display for Remington last year, and he said, "Why didn't you put that display out again?" And I said, "Well, they didn't have it because the building's under construction. They got everything out of order." But I have the cutest picture of him kissing me in the mouth when he was a little boy, and I don't let people kiss me in the mouth unless it was my husband. But I don't think you should kiss people in the mouth unless it's special. Well, he is special, and I just feel his presence all the time. Well, I got to tell the sad part first. I was in a retirement home in Florida 8 years ago, and eating my lunch on a tray, and all of a sudden I looked at the TV, and there was parachutes coming down, landing on the sidewalk at the Hudson in view of the Statue of Liberty. So I thought, oh my goodness, am I dreaming? And so then I saw the Coast Guard drive up in the water, and there were the parachutes, both of them, on the sidewalk. Well, this, I just had the feeling that something was really going on. So I called the man that was doing the show. It was live on TV in front of my eyes. I was by myself, and my friend had gone to church, and I have afternoon church in that home I was in. So I called him, and I said, "Was that a Navy SEAL you just picked up?" He said, "Yes, it was. Who is this?" And I said, "I may be his grandmother." He said, "Oh, what's his name?" And I said, "I can't tell his name." He said, "Why?" And I said, "My gut feeling tells me it is him, but I don't want to call his name because it's 6 of those boys that jumped as a group, and it could have been one of the others, but my heart tells me it's him." So he started questioning me, and so I called him back. He was very nice, and he called him back, and I said, "Can you give me the name of the hospital that they would take him?" And he gave me that, and I called the hospital. This is all within a few minutes. I called the hospital. A nurse answered. Oh, he told me it's a hospital where the 9/11 people were sent. And so I called the hospital. A nurse answered. She said, I told her what I was calling about, and she said, well, wait a minute, I'll let you talk to the doctor. And I thought, oh, my goodness, I feel like I'm in a nightmare. So the doctor took the phone. He said, just a minute, can I help you? And I said, it's a young man that's going to be coming in there shortly, and I want to know something about it. I may be his grandmother. About that time, he said, no, I can't talk. I've got to go. So he left. So I got that close to talking to the doctor that was going to examine him. Well, then I called the man back that was taking the movie of the falling, and he said, I will send you the newspaper. So when I got the newspaper clipping, that's what I'm trying to put my hands on right now. He said, I will mail you that. So he mailed it. It was about an inch tall, the letters of that Navy SEAL jumps to life without a parachute. That's somewhat of how that heading was. And so I keep that, and I display it on Memorial Week, but this week I didn't. But that I started screaming and not knowing what to do, and I called my friend that lived up above me, and she was at church. I said, come to my apartment as soon as you get from church. And I just kept screaming. And then I called Tina, and I said, I know you're at church. Just call me when you get this call. So she called me back, and she said, Mom, it was him. And then I just kept screaming. And so then my friend came home from church, and she called the nurse. And the nurse says, what can I do for you, a male nurse? I said, he wanted to know what kind of medicine I take. I said, I don't take medicine. So he said, well, you got to calm down. And I said, well, I don't know how. So he said, I can give you an aspirin. I said, okay. What else can I do for you? I said, you can give me a hug. So he gave me a hug. And then I went down, and my friend says, go pack your bag. I'm taking you to the airport. I was at West Palm Beach. And we'll take the first flight out. So we went to the airport. It was not out till 5 o'clock a.m., and this is like 4 o'clock p.m. So got to California and checked in the hotel, and the Navy SEAL paid for our room for about 50 of the family. And so the next day I dumped all my clothes out on the bed to get organized so I'd have something to wear. But when I was packing, I was so distraught. I put one shoe of one kind and one of another, so I didn't have a pair of shoes. I had one color, two different colors, one heel, different heel. So I went shopping a pair of shoes, and I said, this first time in my life I never looked at the price of shoes until I got back to the hotel. And so I thought that was kind of funny, ironic, that I didn't have any shoes to wear to the funeral. But we had to wait many days for him to be brought there because he was in Dover. They were examining everything, and I'm not sure they found everything either. But it was like a nightmare, and nobody was able to see him. But I think of all the wonderful times and him and making snowmen in the snow in Colorado, and I'd go visit, and his smile and his goodness, and letting his niece run her fingers through his hair and sing to him, and we were sitting in a restaurant. He was just super, super, super guy. And it's hard for me to even believe he's not here. But I feel his spirit, and I feel his love, and I just wish I'm trying to find that article so I can tell you what's in the article. I think I found it. I found it. Grandma Saves Everything. The newspaper was the Daily News, and it says New York's hometown newspaper. Shoot horror. SEAL stunt jumper killed in harbor. And it was just a nightmare. This is such a surprise, and I've got all kind of pictures of him flying without wings. This, leapfrogs, parachute team. He got the parking ticket to watch him jump a year before that in Florida, and when he hit the ground, that's the first time I've seen him jump. The year before, and he just drug his parachute behind him up to the fence and hugged me and said, "Oh, Nan, I'm so happy you're here." And I guess you know the story about he had told his girlfriend that he wanted to be buried in Rosecrans National Cemetery outside of where the Navy base was in San Diego. Well, when she went to she lived out there near him at the naval base. She went to find a place to bury him, and they told her there were no more spots, no more lots for a burial, but they could put him, if he was cremated, they could put him along the driveway. And she said, that won't do. So it came to the point that somebody pulled some strings, and they cut down a tree to make a spot for Remington to have a burial place. So they had the 21-gun salute that morning at 11, and then they said that the family could come back at 4 o'clock and they would have him with his tombstone at the top. So we went back, and his sister and his mother laid down on the grave and cried while I walked around, and it was just so touching and unbelievable that I was like I was in La La Land. Wish I could share this article with you. I was with his mother while she had labor for 33 hours, and I had on a new sweater this girl in France had given me, and I literally wore the fuzz off that sweater for 33 hours. I didn't leave their side, and I was the first one to see him when he was born. And so he was always close to my heart. And I'm looking at the rest of the article. It's so much in here. It says, jumped to death after Air Expo, and the letter's about more than an inch tall. SEAL shoot fails while thousands watch. And I had somebody send me a article and a picture of her son and daughter. They looked about 10, that saw him jump the day before and then saw this, and she said her children saw him jump. And fall, he didn't jump, but it was the saddest thing I've ever seen. I've got pictures of both parachutes by the Hudson River on the sidewalk there. And I don't know what else to tell you, but he has a piece of my heart in heaven, and I know I'll see him again.
What's your favorite memory of him as a kid?
Oh my goodness. He was just had that little devilish look in his eye, and it was just the cutest. Of course, it was my not the first, but one of the first grandchildren that I had. But and I would surprise them on birthdays, and I'd fly out there and get somebody to take me to their door and not even let them know I was going to be there. He was just so loving and caring and fun and never sad, never complained. Excellent student, and just the cutest little thing, that little red head. And now it's a grandchild that comes here and eats with his grandmother. She's deceased now, but I just told him one day I had to give him a hug, and he was real obliging. I said, you look so much like my little red-headed grandson. I just have to give you a hug. But I'm looking at the picture of them picking up his parachute off the side of the water where he fell. And he excelled in everything he did. He always had a smile, always a peacemaker, good to his mom and good to his sister, and just the sweetest little kid you'd ever want to know. And as his sister said at the funeral, she knew why he had to die so soon, because God needed another angel in heaven. And I just thought that was the cutest thing, that she thought of it as that. She was just a little tyke saying that. So this is such a surprise. I can't think of what to say, except I miss him so much.
We're going to talk to Tina a little bit later, and we'll make sure she hears parts of this as well.
Well, I sent her a letter. Well, the letter should be there. I put a lot in that envelope. Well, I'm sure they don't do any favors, but tell me what one of the inmates said the other day, that old women didn't come in there. It was all young people, and that old people die in their sleep. That did not make me feel very good.
This has been a hard experience for her, and hopefully, with Trump putting out that message, that the DOJ gets to work on what they need to do. So we're all praying for it and doing what we can do.
Well, I appreciate anything, and just so I can talk to her too. And it's just, I know God's in charge, but we can't rush God, but they don't make it easy for the family or her either. I have a picture of the Coast Guard taking him out of the water. It's so sad.
Well,
sad.
At what age did he want to go into the Navy and become a SEAL?
Oh, well, they came to his school, and he signed up even before he graduated. So he was gung-ho to go. See, I lived all the way across country from him when he was growing up, but I would go out there frequently, spend time with him. He was always doing something athletic. I'm losing my eyesight. Oh, here it is, May the 29th, 2017. And when I heard the news or saw it, I gave my notice where I was living, and I moved out of there and moved to Virginia to be near my other grandchildren. But it just does not seem like 8 years. But this is really nice of you, and I sound like I'm in a barrel, I'm sure. Oh, and I want to tell you that when I went to see the grave, there were rocks that they had dug out of the ground. I gave Tina one, and it was just unbelievable that somebody made an exception and cut down a tree to put his body in the ground. And another thing, somebody offered us a jet from his hometown in Grand Junction to fly to California. I never did know who that was, so we didn't have to get a commercial plane to go out there. And coming back, I was sitting and crying and had my head in my hand and tears dripping on the floor. And this lady came up to me, flight attendant. She said, "Are you sick?" I said, "Yes." She said, "I'll move your seat as soon as the plane takes off." So she moved me, and she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "My heart is broken." And she said, "Oh, what happened?" So she hugged me, and she told the crew what had happened. And when I got off that plane, they all gave me a condolence note, and I flew to the East Coast from California. And do you know, all these years I get an email or a message from her, just something uplifting, that she has never forgotten me, that flight attendant that hugged me that day. So you never know where a drop of love will land, or who it will land with, and how long it lasts. But I think that's ironic that a woman 8 years ago that didn't know me, is still corresponding with me. God is good. God is good. Vivian's her name.
Okay.
And she's retired from the airline now, but for somebody to hug you on a plane and still write to you 8 years later, I just think that's awesome.
That's really neat.
But, yeah, God puts wonderful people in your path, and thank you so much for being so good to my daughter. My girl. And I just pray that nothing bad happens to her. And I know God's got it, and he'll do it in his time, not our time. So.
Well, Apollo and I are at her property right now, by the way.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we came
Are
up
her roses blooming? Are her roses blooming?
The roses are in full bloom. They are beautiful.
Oh.
We're going to go by the 10th Mountain Distillery, which is where Remington's paddle is.
Oh. Oh.
Just trying to do something nice for Tina and for, in memory of Remington and how much of an amazing person he was. So I really appreciate your time giving us this story. No warning. You were just so willing to do it, but it's really special.
Oh, that's so nice of you. I'm just so shocked. I don't know what I would have said any different if I had noticed. They just wrote a story about me here at the retirement home, and I sent her a copy of that. So that's what she'll be getting from me soon.
So
I know it.
DOJ, I know they're working, but I also know they're short-staffed. Tina's still in there and has got to get out. So everybody who can help needs to just get the word out and keep it loud, and remember that she's still in there. She's really a political prisoner.
Well, we got to think about keeping her spirits up, I'm telling you. Thank you, and God bless you, too. I love all you people taking care of my girl. God bless you.
Right.
Dear President Trump, when I first met you, the first week in May 2022, you told me, quote, when this is all over, you will be a hero. Then you added, quote, you are a hero. Today I write from prison. On Memorial Day 2025, with great sadness, not because I'm in prison, but because my Navy SEAL son died defending this country. He was 3 weeks from going back to Iraq with SEAL Team 3 after serving 9 long years, starting in 2008 when Obama was elected. He hated the fact that administration mandated that his team train the enemy. He loved what he did on the teams, but hated that president would not let them be effective against the enemy. He loved to base jump, wingsuit, and taught many of the guys to do so. Remington Jordan Peters, October 30th, 1989 to May 28th, 2017, died as part of the Navy Leapfrog team that he served for 2 years. What most people do not know is that in addition to his duties as SEAL, he trained and worked with other SEALs and Army Rangers to go after human traffickers. Even though his double parachute failure on Memorial Day was officially labeled an accident, many know otherwise. Remington had over 900 jumps as an expert paratrooper and was an expert at everything he did. In BUDS, during his SEAL team training, he was voted by his peers as Honor Man and given a one-of-a-kind engraved with the Navy SEAL Trident rifle, which if I'm considered a felon, I will not be able to keep. Prison is very difficult for me because me and my family have always treasured liberty so much. My husband of 35 years after me exposing the biggest scandal of election fraud was taken from me illegally and died as a result. He had served in Vietnam as a Marine and was in a nursing home and moved out of my care. The evil these criminals have done to me and my country grieves me so. The upcoming midterm elections are always on my mind. We have to save Colorado as well as our elections. They thought by falsely accusing me and throwing me in jail and prison would finally silence me. But all that I've experienced as a lung cancer survivor, facing death, the excruciating, painful death of my son Remington, and the unrelenting harassment, persecution, and taking my husband and facilitating his death has all deepened my resolve to continue the fight. When I met you in 2022, I was running for Secretary of State in Colorado against Jenna Griswold, the Obama protege, and his former election attorney in D.C. I raised more money in the 4 months after I announced on our friend Steve Bannon's show February 14th, 2022, than all my Republican opponents combined. At 47% in a three-way race, with even the corrupt press acknowledging I won, I came in close to last. We, the cyber experts, some of who had authored the Mesa County Reports 1, 2, and 3, saw them change votes in real time. I raised the $255,000 to pay for a recount. Jenna Griswold and Dominion Voting Systems violated law in instructing election clerks to use images instead of voter-verified paper ballots that the statute required. As we know from what I've uncovered, the images are changed by manipulating illegal software in the voting machines. The reports are on my website, tinapeters.us. My mother is 96 years old. Mr. President, I appreciate all you've done. Thank you so much, and God bless you and keep you. Tina Peters.
Why I stand for our warriors. They stood for us when others fled. On foreign soil where angels tread, with courage forged in fire and flame, they bore the scars, they took the name. They marched through darkness, dread, and dust, fueled by honor, bound by trust. Not for glory, nor for gain, but for the flag, through grief and pain. Each name etched deep in granite stone speaks of a debt we'll never own. Not silent now, their spirits rise. In every breeze beneath our skies, they echo through the red and blue, in fields of white, forever true. Their call is not for tears alone, but for the life their blood has sown. So let the banners bold and bright catch morning wind and evening light. Let children's laughter fill the air, a testament they're always there. Let gratitude be how we live, in every act, in all we give. For in their honor we are free, and freedom holds responsibility. To love, to serve, to never stray from what they died to guard this day.